Welcome back, everybody, to this third and final game in the Risen Divine League Winners Semi-Final between Soulbound Mirage and Omega Gaming Silence. I am Gordo, joined once again by Rudude, and Rudude, we have got a Game 3 ahead of us.
Exactly here. The winner of this game going on to the winners finals, ladies and gentlemen. So everything to play for. We've had two games previously. They do not matter now. This is a best of one for that spot in the winners bracket finals.
Yeah, and it's going to be Omega Gaming going right towards that target that we've seen banned away previously in this series. It is going to be the Elise coming through over for Banky Kang.
And I hope to see this Lee Sin locked in as well because we will be fully immersed back into Season 4 right here with these two jungle pickups coming on through for the each respective team right now. Banky Khan got the Elise band away from him in game number 1, so I'm excited to see what he can do on it. On the other side, though, Lee Sin, a very stable early game jungler, something that Best Turtle was so adept on in last game, where he was able to use the Hecarim and the early power that comes with it to snowball Mirage to an absolute catalytic victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And who's heard about this carry jungler, farming jungler meta that we've had for the past several months? In this game, we're going to completely disregard that. We're going to go for Elise in for this early aggression jungle matchup. It's going to be all about the first 10 minutes for these guys.
It definitely is, and whichever jungler gets ahead, you feel like he's just going to run away with the game here. We haven't seen the rest of the rosters bought up yet because obviously there's still so much to choose from.
Oh, this
But
is new.
this is very new indeed, and I really like this Twitch as an answer to the Ezreal. Ezreal typically considered a fairly safe laner, and Twitch sort of cropping up a little bit as the counterpick to the Ezreal, not necessarily because he dominates the Ezreal in the laning phase, but because of how well he scales alongside the Ezreal, and that whilst the Ezreal's effective range is fairly high, the Twitch is, with that spray and pray, is just so much higher.
And it is the Team Liquid special with the blind Twitch Rakan coming out in game 3 here over from the side of Omega Gaming. They know they're against the Ezreal, but they don't know what support. And frankly, they do not care. They're going for this hard engage combo where they can suddenly dash at you from nowhere because the Twitch is going to be invisible with Rakan dashing onto him. And then they're going to hold you down while Twitch just sprays and prays through your whole team.
Exactly, that is going to be the dream here for Silence, is that they can find the engage onto this squishy bot lane, onto anybody else that Soulbound are able to pick up for themselves because they've got this big Twitch hyper carry coming through in the late game. They find that ideal team fight and they should come through victors here, but that's a long way to go and they have a lot of steps to take before getting to Twitch to what I like to say the 3-item mark is when Twitch truly comes online. We have a number of builds that he can go for here and we'll have to see which one we opt into. Well, that being said, we're into the second part of the ban phase now. A few targets coming away that we've seen consistently across the series.
Yeah, absolutely here. And now we are going to be seeing the Twitch banned away from Omega Gaming. They are not willing to face down that pick again. If you weren't here for game 2, this Vigar pick was able to absolutely decimate the side of Omega Gaming Silence in game 2, getting incredibly ahead early along with a Hecarim pick. And just completely was able to carry through the game along with the rest of his teammates.
Exactly, and we see now the Vladimir taken, blind picked into the top lane, still has the flexibility of going into either one of those solo lanes, but Silence are going to have their choice of pick against Vladimir and then pick of other solo laner that they go for. We saw your nurse on Corki on game number 1, we're going to see it once again in game number 3. And now we're going to have to see what Koros wants to take into the top lane here, because we imagine that he has to answer a Vladimir, but there's also the very, very real possibility that this Vladimir sits in the mid lane, goes even with farm on the Corki, and they both scale up to be absolute monster picks. So something relatively safe needs to be taken on the top side if you are Koros.
Yeah, and it could also be the Vladimir being flexed up there, potentially for the side of Soulbound Mirage. So going to be watching out for that, as it could be a top or mid laner, and might actually be a mid laner here, as with the Scion locked in for the side of Omega Gaming Silence, Soulbound Mirage hovering the Volibear, but going to be switching away to some other champions. Might be another Kale pick, could happen. Probably not Tristana, but never say never. Also probably not Singed.
There's a lot of options here for Soulbound Mirage. I really like Scion as just a blind pick in the top lane because it offers you so much tank
Oh, it's
and
the Nico again.
so
It's
much front line.
so could be mid, it could be top, probably top with the Vladimir mid, I've got to assume.
Yeah.
Nico as the counter pick to Gangplank in game one didn't work out that great for the side of Soulbound Mirage. Let's see if it is even better as a Scion counter.
I mean, we say that, but it did manage to generate a kill for the Nico on the top side. They did get a solo kill, which has been actually consistent throughout both games here in their victory and in their defeat. Soulbound Mirage and their top laner here, Steel City Warrior, has been all over Koros, essentially. You know, winning out on the top side, 1 versus 1 time and time again. Definitely putting Koros in his place. So, on something like the Scion here, a little less emphasis on early aggression and more so just standing in front of your Twitch and your Corki.
Yeah, certainly the case, but also worth pointing out, in game one, Koros was able to get onto his Gangplank, the champion that he's played the most of, the champion that he's most adept at losing gracefully on. And, he gave up a kill, but was able to keep the CS pretty similar. But then last game, there was some major differences occurring there. Had the heavy counter pick himself, was expected to be lane dominant in that Kennen versus KO matchup. And while he did generate a CS lead for himself early, was not able to continue that going on to the game and was not able to prevent the Kale from scaling up and eventually just 1v2ing him and his mid laner.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be waiting to see if that can, come out in full force here. And if we take a, bigger scope out, looking at the rest of the both of the teams here, and very distinct jungle champions that we touched on at the start of the draft, but we have to hone back in on once again because when we look at the teams that they've drafted around here, the difference makers in the early games are going to be these junglers, and it's what you expect when you pick the Elise, when you pick the Lee Sin, is for them to have that level of impact in the early game to start snowballing one direction or the other. Because if the Vladimir gets rolling and gets ahead in the early game, then there really is no stopping him. Once he reaches those 2 items, we can take over team fights, and that goes for the silent side as well here because Corki at 2 items, Twitch at 2 or 3 is an inevitable late game threat that we need to be concerned with. And it's going to be on, like I say, the junglers to make things happen in the early game and maybe find some advantages where they otherwise wouldn't have been without the impact.
Yeah, and definitely going to be looking out to see how these junglers are able to make the ganks happen. Elise especially, but also the Lee Sin is one of these junglers that you really think of as being a part of a duo with the solo lane. You think about Elise Renekton, you think about, the kind of Camille Elise builds that we've seen before, where the goal is to be able to set up CC to guarantee that you're going to hit that cocoon and that you can be able to get the dash down. That doesn't necessarily exist with this Scion. The Rakan is going to be able to charm people up. The Scion could potentially ulti people at close range, but it's not going to be this incredibly easy, guaranteed CC that you get with something like a Renekton. It's going to need to be landed onto them, and it's going to be from ultimate abilities.
Exactly, it's got to come across, and it sort of plays too that both of these teams are trying to generate themselves a fairly standard team fighting composition, albeit with these sort of atypical junglers that fit into it. Because if you look across the Silence roster, they've got Corki Twitch, late game hyper carries, both of them on Soulbound Mirage right here. They've got Ezreal, they've got Vladimir, they've got Nico, all very strong team fighting champions as well. Not to mention the Bard potential engages for Mirage is definitely going to be something to keep our eyes on. Bard, notably one of those champions that is feast or famine, but in a very different sense to the majority of the champions that we dub with that title, because Bard can either win you the game or lose you the game, and it is very evident when which one has happened.
Yeah, definitely going to be another matchup to look out for. And now we're going to be watching this mid lane as well. Do you think the Corki is going to have an advantage early on, being able to poke onto this Vladimir? Or do you think this is more of like a farm lane where both parties are just going to be looking to kind of last hit where they can?
I think we're hoping to see Corki sort of try and establish a bit of a lead in the early game, and he should be able to do so at least early on. And it doesn't necessarily all matter that much because the Corki isn't a solo killing powerhouse, right? Like the realistic outcome will be that these two mid laners just farm up and become threats in their own right. But in the pure 1 versus 1, I do expect Corki to have a slight advantage over North in the early game. And once the Vladimir reaches level 9, that sort of subsides because the Vladimir sustain is just so potent with that maxed rank Q. We do expect to see, at least pre that marker, Yornes having a little bit of priority in the mid lane and maybe having the potential to roam and help out Banky Kang on this Elise.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this Bard is going to be working in conjunction with Lee Sin and Nico for these kind of disengage tools that are going to be necessary because there's a lot of powerful engage coming in from the side of Omega Gaming Silence with the Scion and with the Twitch Rakan duo that we've mentioned before, being able to kind of secretively get their way in there as you won't be expecting the Rakan to jump towards a stealth Twitch and be able to get onto an engage that way.
No, exactly. There's a lot of avenues of approach here for Omega Gaming Silence, and then on the other side, we've touched on the engage tools for Soulbound Mirage. It is mainly going to be reliant on this Bard pick. If the Tempered Fate is able to, lock up those key backline members, then maybe there's a world where the Vladimir flank, the Nico ulti, these key cooldowns can be found. Alternatively, it's going to be on Turtle, on this Lee Sin. We saw him find success in game 2. Need to see him find those engages here in game number 3. If he can pick one of the two carries, either the Corki or the Twitch, then there's a very easy team fight ahead for Soulbound Mirage, and it's all going to be on the back of Turtle if the Bard ultimate is a miss.
Yeah, that Bard skill expression going to be a huge part of this game coming up. Love to see the Bard picks. Love to see the Tempered Fates coming through and the attempts at Cosmic Bindings. Going to be a really skill-intensive lane down here for the bot lane of Soul Mirage as a duo, as they're going to be facing down, some a little bit of a established duo, the Twitch Rakan, something that a lot of players at Worlds were picking, and that has a lot of engage potential in it, but this Ezreal Bard, between their two skill shots, they can certainly be a more poke-heavy lane that might be looking to try to bully out onto this melee Rakan a little bit more.
Exactly, and with the Bard pick into the Rakan in particular, that Cosmic Binding that you touched on, really a very useful tool versus the Rakan in particular, because Rakan has to be right on top of the carry that he is shielding. That Battle Dance taking you to the target ally that you want to shield, and if that Cosmic Binding comes through at the right time, there's a very real possibility that double stuns come through and trades go in the favour of Soulbound Mirage down on the bot side of the map. It's all very dependent on the execution. As we've seen throughout this series, both of these teams having very nice outplay potential coming through. Lots of little steps one way, step the other that change the course of the fight. We'll have to see how this plays out because not just the bot lane for Soulbound Mirage, but everywhere across the map needs to be on top form.
Yeah, and with that established, we are going to load on into this game and we are going to get ourselves all synchronized to bring you every bit of Game 3 action. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back in for Game 3. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 3, our third and final game of the winner's side semifinals for the Risen Divine League. This is Soulbound Mirage versus Omega Gaming Silence. I am Gordo, joined by Rudude as I have for the whole series, and Rudude, this is where we find it out.
It definitely is here. It's going to be do or die for these rosters. If they make this game count, they go into the winners finals here. And I'm really interested, just doing a little bit of quick scouting across the rest of the Divine League here. Every series that I've seen get streamed so far is at 3 games. It goes to add to the competitiveness of the Divine League and how strong every single team is, that all of these games can be going to the absolute ends of the series here. And it'll be whichever team comes out on top will have earned their spot here, because both of them going to want their place in the top end of the final bracket.
Yeah, and we can see it does look like it might be Steel City Warrior and North, potentially going for a little lane swap here. Steel City Warrior is sitting here cloaked as the Vladimir in the mid lane. They do not quite realize on the side of Omega yet, perhaps, who their lane opponents are actually going to be. That is a mistimed Q from the Scion going to fail the leash there.
He's still going to give over a few auto attacks, but definitely not what Banky Kang would have wanted. Early level 1 trap here.
Yeah, looking for a potential engage here. Going to be landing that knockup onto the Ezreal, followed up by the unstealth from Twitch, getting that attack speed to land an aggressive trade early on, along with the Ignite from Banjito. Going to be an early advantage in bot lane inside of Omega Gaming Silence.
Yeah, level 1 definitely establishing themselves as the authoritative force on bot lane duos here. Azuto and Banjito being consistent throughout the series and definitely showing up already in level 1, giving themselves a little health bar advantage, putting the Ezreal in his place in the early stages to, make him remember that you are a very weak early game laner, and trying to reassert that pressure.
Yeah, Koros trading in here onto North, has that level 2 first, and is going to be trying to bully onto this Vladimir a little bit early, as you can on most laners. But it's worth pointing out, Best Turtle's jungle pathing, he did go buff to Gromp. This is the fastest level 3 you can get, as he is going to be looking around potentially for a gank here, doesn't see any opportunities, and goes back to his bolts.
Oh, here we go.
And now, once again, another engage here. Nuttybar is going to dash away with that Ezreal Arcane Shift, going to not get killed here on that engage, not going to have to blow the flash, but North getting really bullied in that top lane.
Yeah, he is. Early on, we can always remember that Vladimir, weak laner, should definitely be feeling the force of the Scion in the laning phase. Something that we're not too used to saying, but that being said, it is the situation at hand. Both junglers might meet at this bot lane crab, though, and the bot lane priority in favor, it feels like, of Omega, but here comes that fight.
Going to attempt to come up here as they're going to be dueling it out with one another. You got to feel that Lee Sin is favored here in this 1v1 and is going to have the mid laner to back him up here, as Best Turtle is able to pick up the first blood onto his opposing jungler. Going to take down Banky Kang there, secure the scuttle for himself, and take a significant advantage in this early game jungler matchup.
Yeah, and ultimately it doesn't matter which bot lane had the priority, because it's the mid laners that make the difference. Steel City Warrior off-rolling here in the mid lane, and he's able to make his priority count, sacrificing a few minions in the mid lane to go for something, and
Ludo, though, going in here on to the Bard, going to force him to portal through that wall as Your Nurse getting engaged on in the mid lane, going to avoid the Q from Lee Sin, manages to dive back into the minion wave and avoid that Sonic wave. And now they're going to be fighting for the other Rift Herald. Once again, this one's stolen away by Lee Sin, as Elise is trapped up in the Repel, now going to be forcing a flash out of Your Nurse, and they're going in onto Banky Kang. Banky Kang does still have the flash available, might have to use it here, doesn't want to, though, is going to use the Blast Cone, escape away from his opponents, and is going to settle for only losing the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, double effectiveness on that Blast Cone, taking not just himself to safety, but catapulting his enemies away from him. Unfortunate that Banky Kang loses both of the Scuttle Crabs. One of them he pays for with his life, the other one he pays for with just a mistimed smite. And now, obviously, this Lee Sin, the early game powerhouse that we know he can be, off to the best start that he could hope for, has got the first blood, double crabbed the enemy jungler, and is also going to be able to pick up a pretty much full clear of his own camps as well. Might even be looking toward the top lane as well, but looks like he's just going to start himself up those Krugs and then look to spend all the gold he has.
Ooh, going to be a good stun there from the Bard, going to interrupt this recall. And it's worth pointing out with this Lee Sin, usually the thing you have to consider with these early game junglers, once they take the first advantage, is it's not like it ends right there. The question is, can they keep up this pace? Can they manage to keep accelerating the game and keeping themselves ahead to the degree that they can outscale the opposing jungler, or pseudo outscale it by getting themselves so significantly ahead that the scaling advantage doesn't matter. That's not quite the case here, though, as both junglers are so heavily invested in this early game that just being able to gather this advantage, you got to believe this is going to be able to stick for quite a while, unless Elise is able to find a way to get herself snowballing on a different lane.
Exactly, and trying to find that spot is just going to be the difficult thing, right? We look at this gank happening giant down the bot.
Yeah, might be going in here. As they do, they get the knock up onto the Bard as he's going to portal away, but he's going to get taken down by the expunge from the Twitch. That is going to be a kill onto Azuto as they solidify their advantage in this bot lane by getting their first kill.
There we go, and the thing with the Elise obviously is that yes, she's an early game jungler, but if you find the advantages elsewhere on the map, it doesn't matter how much you get outscaled because your Twitch does the same thing. On the top side, we see North fighting.
Going to be getting chemo-plagued here. He does not seem to have the advantage to keep going onto this. Going to get flashed onto by the opposing Vladimir. Now going to get landed on by an ultimate at point-blank range. North goes into the pool to try to get this solo kill, and he's going to be able to do it. He solo kills Koros. Koros going to trade back here with the Scion passive. It's going to be a 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Big
now a
flashes.
flash attempt at Cosmic Binding from that Bard over on the side of Soulbound Mirage. Not quite going to be able to land it. Gonna get a flash out of Banjito though.
Yeah, so double flash expended by the supports to keep themselves alive right there. They're going to be able to, shake hands, admit that, nothing is actually going to come out of those plays from the bot side. But once again, Steel City Warrior here, quite happy to sacrifice a few minions in the mid lane for the sake of making a play happen on the bot side. Right there, sacrificed a wave under the turret, and Jonas happy to push it in. But was there for the play on the bot side should anything have happened. And I really like, the willingness to help the team is what I'm going to say, because he's definitely making it work out there in the mid lane.
And I want to call attention to this top lane, because every time we look up there, we see Koros bullying on North, and it feels like the Scion is taking an early advantage. But in reality, the CS lead is in the side of the Vladimir, if anything. North has just been able to farm up here in this top lane. He's been able to absorb this pressure from the Scion. He traded 1-for-1 the one time they fought. And he's managing to keep up in CS and scale up on this Vladimir. It's only going to get harder for Koros from here on out, so he's got to find a way to make this lane work for himself.
Exactly, and you can see in the build path that Koros actually itemizing for, more trade power, which seems a bit weird to say when you say he's got a Balmy Cinder. Could see a little fight up here again. Onslaught isn't
going
available.
to be engaging onto North here, has a bit more of a health advantage and has access to more mana than he did in the last fight. Going to be a phase rush proc out of North to get himself out of dodge, prevent himself from getting picked up by that decimating smash. But now, once again, another one's coming through, not going to get fully charged, but doesn't quite need to when it's dishing out this much poke damage.
No, exactly. The Q-Max coming through from Sion, very devastating at least this point in the game, and Azuto looking for a fight bot.
Azuto going to just be walking right up here onto Bard. Bard going to have to portal through the wall again, has had to do that over and over here, and for the most part, it's pretty effective at getting him out of there. It does not change the fact that he just got chunked to half HP, though, and is going to have to continue to watch out for that. Now it's going to be another decimating smash, not quite getting the knock up onto North. Now it's going to be another Hemo Plague onto Koros. Koros going to be able to heal up North here from that Hemo Plague as he turns around. He tries to get the ulti off, but not going to be able to do so. Best Turtle picks up that kill. North enters the pool to prevent himself from being picked up. Now it's an engage in the bot lane. Vegito going through that stealthed engage that we talked about previously. Going to be an expunge onto the Ezreal, getting Nutty Bars oh so low, but he manages to survive. But here comes Banky King looking to pick it up. He goes for the repel. He gets it and manages to execute onto Nutty Bars. It is now 3-3 across the map. The Bard is forced away into the base, and they're going to be moving on to these bot lane turrets.
Yeah, a kill in the top lane for Soulbound, a kill in the bot lane for Omega Gaming. They trade members across the map. Really nice pickup by Banky Kang to use the flash, use the repel, give Nutty Bars absolutely no way out of that play. Means that Azuto now going to be able to farm up a little bit more for himself. Going to get himself half of a plate in gold shared between himself and Banjito. A full wave as well, and look to reset, finish up that Mana Moon, and start scaling on this Twitch as looks like a bit of a re-engage.
Coming through with this portal, going to be looking for that Cosmic Journey to carry them into an engage here. Not quite going to be able to do so as Banky Kang getting a little bit of damage here onto Steel City Warrior.
Yeah, a little bit traded back and forth, but overall a little bit of wasted time here for Steel City Warrior. And once again, it's all Jonas in the mid lane just sat farming up for himself, and it's all the Nico giving the farm, giving the CS over and trying to help out the team here. because that is really what the name of the game is trying to keep this Twitch from getting too fed and trying to help out the Ezreal, help out the Bard, these two squishy members down on the bot side that are, you know, slightly struggling a little bit, it feels, with this Twitch Rakan duo.
Yeah, certainly been able to find a lot of advantages for themselves, and that gank in the bot lane that we saw out of Banky Kang, that is why we see so many Elise bans directed towards Banky Kang this series. It's that individual champion mastery that lets him know the exact range that he can flash repel to, land in a perfect max range and pick up a kill, so you gotta believe he couldn't have otherwise. But Bard coming in for a gank in the top lane, North managing to bait this oh so efficiently as he gets the heal off of his Q, and now Koros forced to run away. Decimating Smash going to land through, but not going to hit any targets. Now the Ignite likely going to pick up Koros. North wisely keeping his distance to prevent the Scion passive from being able to take him up. On the other side, Bard not too concerned, just going to cosmically bind him into the wall. It's going to be an easy pickup for the side of Soulbound Mirage.
Yeah, this Scion top lane, yes, he's tanky, but it doesn't mean that the Vladimir can't take him down here. Zero magic resist to speak of so far, and you have to sort of question whether or not that is the optimum build route for the Scion. Yes, with HP he gains damage from the W, but maybe just a Abyssal Mask to help yourself. A repel mid.
And that is going to be the ultimate from the Bard, dodged away from. Spanky Kang looking to try, see if he can accomplish anything in this river, dodging out onto the Lee Sin Q, a little bit of trading in the bot lane, but it looks like nothing too harsh here. It's good ultimate from the Ezreal, going to potentially force Azuto back. Azuto and Banjito not quite able to punish this Bard for all the roaming he's been doing, cannot get onto that Ezreal, he's so safe.
Yeah, and that is the power that Ezreal gives you here. Ezreal Bard as a bot lane duo, not necessarily the most potent lane, but they have the power to do their own thing. Ezreal, safe enough to stay back, and Bard, one of the best roaming supports that we have in League of Legends. So with that combo being picked up for one another, they're going to be more than happy to sort of sit bot lane when they want to, but allow the Bard to roam when that guy wants to as well.
Nurse does have access to the package here, going to just use it for wave clear, might have been about to time out there, as he is actually going to get snared on here by the Nico. Doesn't quite get hit by the Q though, going to be able to back away.
Yeah, just about walks it out here, and I'm still confused by this top lane build path by Koros, trying to go up against the Vladimir, especially since he's fighting, but here comes a fight.
Yeah, Banky Kang going to be landing a stun here onto the Bard, likely going to be able to pick him up here pretty easily. A lot of burst damage coming out onto that squishy champion. Going to be backing away here, an easy one for Zero. Maybe going to try to convert this into a dragon with the numbers advantage. They do not have teleport onto Koros or ultimate.
You would definitely...
But he is in the mid lane already.
Definitely hope so that that kill will result in a dragon right there, and you can see Banky Kang and Banjito there. They're just taking down the Mountain Drake, one of the harder ones to take away. There's two fairly low damage sources right there, but Banjito may be looking for a play on Nutty Bars. He has Banky Kang with him as well. This turret very low as well.
Yeah, looking to see if they can engage here. Meanwhile, the Rift Herald's been dropped in the top lane, so they feel the need to make something happen down here. They're going to be able to pick up the first turret here before the Rift Herald's able to take it up, and now they have a free card to engage. They aren't actually able to get anything. Bard going to Cosmic Journey through that wall, keep his distance, but they do succeed in their mission. They get the first turret.
Exactly. The big gold injection onto this Twitch. Still a lot of resources being put into him, which is what we want to see from Omega Gaming Silence right here. Azuto has been very consistent across not game one, but game two as well here. Where, you know, your Nurse has been quite happy to farm himself up in the mid lane, and maybe looking at a gank in the mid now.
Oh, that's a flash snare attempt from Steel City Warrior, going to be dodged out of. Even the Super Soaker missing out here. Fancy feet, blue suede shoes over on your Nurse, able to dodge out of that engage with his flash.
Yeah, just about gets to safety. Koros and
Koros
North now.
Trading aggressively with North. We've seen this song and dance before, and it has not gone your way, Koros. But once again, looking for a fight here, going to get Hemoplagued onto just so that North can get some healing here. And Koros not having his best game here, getting a little bit more mileage out of that passive than he might hope to, and it looks like he might get even a little bit more as there's two more members of the opposing team coming through his own jungle for the gank. He flashes away, but can he even stay alive? Is North going to fall forward, going to use the pool to avoid the turret shots, and going to let his team pick up this kill? Steel City Warrior getting another kill, and Koros dropping to 1 and 4.
Yeah, once again, not respecting the roam potential.
Oh, now that's the ultimate from Banjito from far away. He's going to flash forward and land the W onto the Ezreal, but has no follow-up. That's actually the Lee Sin, not the Ezreal. Not used to that skin quite yet. Is Banjito going to get hit now by the ultimate from Bard, going to get taken down, and now Azuto is alone, has to flash away to stay alive. As it all goes wrong for Omega Gaming.
Yeah, Banjito, they're very over-aggressive with that play onto the Ezreal. Yes, he's squishy, but no, your Twitch isn't in a position to follow up here. Turtle.
Oh, now Turtle going to be coming in behind Azuto. Azuto trying to escape, but he's going to get kicked right into the wall. He's going to get chain CC'd. He's going to get taken down by the team. Now the Pop Blossom shield going to keep alive the Nico for just a little bit longer, but Steel City Warrior going to eventually be taken down. It is going to be a 1-for-1 in the extended trade, but with Azuto going down, who's got to be a major target here, as Banky Gang able to solo out the opposing team's Bard, as is Turtle getting taken down by Your Nurse. It looks like Omega Gaming actually able to turn this around as Banky Gang gets another kill. That's going to be a double kill to him, and now there's 4 targets on the enemy team down, and they're going to be pushing down onto this mid turret. Omega Gaming turns this game on its head in a moment.
Banky Gang with a huge play under his own turret, taking on 4 members right there, repels to stop the shield of the Pot Blossom, keeping Steel City Warrior alive, then re-engaging 1v3 onto the bot lane and jungle combo from the rest of Soulbound Mirage right here. They might not be finished. North pulled early.
Yeah, North going to have to pull away, not quite timing the cocoon correctly. Banky Gang not able to solidify that kill. Might have landed if he had timed it perfectly. Didn't work out that way though. North stays alive.
No, but as you mentioned, turning the game back into Silence's favor here, and it was at a point where Koros has sort of fallen time and time again on that top side, giving advantages to a few members every now and then.
Your Nurse maybe getting engaged on here, going to dodge away from the Sonic Wave. Now North fighting with Koros yet again. We've seen this time and again this game, but Best Turtle going on to Your Nurse. That's something new as they go forward. Banjito going to be landing the snare onto him, going to be getting 1 kill, but now they're getting turned onto. The Pop Blossom goes through and is going to pick up onto Your Nurse. Now Banjito has to run away, but can't do so. That's going to be a double kill over to Steel City Warrior. Soulbound Mirage not out of this game yet, as we have got a close game 3.
And that's what we would want here, Gordo. Everybody giving everything they've got going into the 3rd and final game right now. The Elise 5-1 and 2. We talked about the fact that the Elise needed to make something happen after that pretty dire level 3 route. But since then, everything has been coming up. Banky Gang on this comfort pick, the Elise, which has been banned away from him in game number 1. Opting not to take it for game number 2 here, but game 3, we see why it was taken away from him in that ban phase. And we can tell that this is a comfort pick. This is where Banky Gang finds comfort on himself. And now we're going to have to see if he can transition it into a more mid-game focused Elise, becoming that assassin that she can be.
Yeah, definitely going to be exciting to see as we migrate away from Turtle and Banky Gang on this Elise and Lee Sin from being 2 of the biggest factors on the map and start to switch towards people like Azuto, Nutty Bars, North, and Your Nurse being responsible for carrying this game as we get into the later game fights. These scaling champions are starting to come online. They're at 1 or 2 items each, and they're now going to be having a huge amount of weight on these shoulders coming into these fights.
They definitely are. Your Nurse has the package.
Your Nurse going to be getting an engage here on a Steel City Warrior, going for the solo out here as he manages to land the Q. He lands the big one. The big one actually dodged out onto as he gets hit by the ultimate from Bard. That Tempered Fate going to keep his teammate alive and going to enable Steel City Warrior to back out here just with a trade for an ultimate for a package.
And a crucial whiff on the big one right there. Your Nurse missing the mark on that one, but a nice Tempered Fate keeps the Nico alive right there. Package used and not ultimately gaining anything overall. They do get the Tempered Fate out, which means that this Drake fight will be a lot harder for Soulbound Mirage to engage if they choose to do so. Now it has spawned. It is going to be the Cloud Soul for us in game number 3, so a little bit of a, less effective soul, we will say, when it comes to closing out the game, but still something that both teams will want to pick up for themselves, as we see True Shot Barrage coming through very late right there. Banky Gang with the Q-Smite combo, able to secure themselves that 2nd dragon of the game, working themselves toward the soul, giving themselves a little bit of movement speed and extra ultimates as well.
Yeah, the extra ultimate's going to be a pretty large factor, especially for the side of Soulbound Mirage this game. The Vladimir ultimate, the Pop Blossom, the Tempered Fate. You're going to want these abilities up as much as possible, so certainly going to be favoring them quite a bit, especially more so than some of the lower cooldown ultimates that might not want it quite as much. Stuff like the Corky Rockets or the Elise ultimate.
Yeah, exactly. Transformers themselves not necessarily benefiting from that, Cloud Drake as much as other champions do, and when you've got these game-changing ultimates such as Bard, such as, Nico, where I feel like one well-placed Bard ultimate can be the single most game-changing ultimate in a game. It is up there with the Orianna Shockwave, where when it whiffs, you feel it, but when it hits, you feel it as well. So all of those ultimates being up and available are going to be dangerous. Azuto, though,
Zudo getting engaged on here, flashed over, getting it caught up in the Pop Blossom, but going to be able to flash out just in time. The CC chain was not perfect, gets ignited, dodges out on the Tempered Fate, and is going to manage to stay alive. Meanwhile, Koros now is engaging onto North here. They've been fighting all game, but can Koros finally find an advantage up in this matchup? Lands the ultimate, going to land the Decimating Smash, not getting the knock-up, and North is healing up so much with that Vladimir sustain. Going to be getting another transfusion here, going to keep landing these E's, going to pull away from the Decimating Smash, and now thinks he might be able to potentially turn it, but now the rest of the teams are fighting out in the mid lane. Banky Kang is standing here with 2 of his teammates against 4 members of Soulbound Mirage as they just start to back away here.
And it was
no fight.
so close for Koros. He's been trying again and again.
Slow on your nurse, has to use the Valkyrie to dodge away there, but he's going to be able to dodge out on the snare, going to be able to stay alive.
Just about makes it out right there. The Super Soaker not enough to take down this Corki. The package, the Valkyrie rather, is enough to get himself to safety. And right now, we're 20 minutes into the game. 2,000 gold lead for Omega Gaming Silence. They're slightly ahead, right, so far with the gold, but you have to feel like this
North
Vladimir...
going in onto Chorus again. These guys just cannot get enough of each other here as they're going to continue to fight back and forth. Chorus, though, knows he's not in a position to win right now. Going to just back away here.
Yeah, going to walk it on out. The Vladimir sustain really showing showing itself off right there, because North left lane at 400 HP, came back full HP after taking 1 single Gromp, so... you know, you feel the pain of that as a Scion, where you don't have your Warmogs just yet, so he's going to be able to build up a little bit more magic resist now, finally getting that for himself. The Spirit Visage looking like it's going to come through with the Mercury Treads on top of that, making him a little bit less susceptible to being CC'd during team fights when they do erupt. But something that I wanted to mention briefly was these 2 mana immunes of the AD carries for Omega Gaming Silence here, and also the one on the other side for Nutty Bars that... You know, neither of the ADCs in particular, Tempered Fate goes wide.
It's going to be the Tempered Fate, not going to land on any targets. Zudo does manage to dodge that one out. Now, it might be a gain anyway, though, as Sonic Wave does land onto Rakan, but Vangito going to turn around and land the ultimate onto as many targets as possible. They're all getting melted down by the spray and pray. Zudo is carrying this fight so powerful on this Twitch, going to be able to get a double kill for himself as his teammate Banky Kang able to pick up a double kill as well. That is a 4-for-0 team fight going to the side of Omega Gaming Silence. North looking to get a kill here onto his opposing top laner, but doesn't even matter when your entire team's been eliminated and you are currently losing the Baron. North might not even be able to pick this one up here as Koros going to escape with the Blast Cone, and the rest of his team going out of this Baron.
Zuto, absolute madman on the Twitch, just going off in that team fight. The setup from Rakan and then the DPS from the Runans, the spray and pray, was more than enough to take out the 4 members strong of Soulbound Mirage right there. They weren't expecting that, and they weren't able to find the access that they wanted to. Tempered Fate got sidestepped, the Lee Sin kick was not on the Twitch, and he was able to just roam free throughout that team fight. Banky Kang coming in for a little bit of support, and your nurse is jumping in.
Oh, your nurse jumping over with the package once again, but maybe not going to be able to get anything here. Steel City Warrior chasing down onto him, does not want to give up his blue buff. He's going to solidify that for himself, has the rest of his team here to back him up, as they know the Dragon's going to be spawning in about 30 seconds. It's both teams coming to start to posture around this important objective.
Yeah, they both want this one for themselves, and Chorus getting jumped on, but he has the team behind him.
Yeah, he is a tanky boy. He is built for this, as he does man a 3-man knockup. Make that a 2-man knockup. This one was just a clone, but Vangito going to easily pick up Steel City Warrior here, and just like that, it's a 4v5. Can Soulbound Mirage do anything here? They land a large Ezreal ultimate through multiple targets, but North is trying to carry this with the Hemo Plague, trying to do as much damage as possible, as Best Turtle going to flash forward, not going to be able to get anything here, as the rest of his team is now losing the fight. North is getting engaged on, going to get taken down by Koros for, I believe, the first time this game, as Twitch is able to pick up another kill as well. Double kill to the side of Azudo, Dragon to the side of Omega Gaming Silence, and that is going to be another fight win for Omega Gaming.
And they're going to now begin to put the final nails in the coffin of Soulbound Mirage right here. Omega Gaming Silence looking to stamp their way into the Risen Divine League upper bracket finals. They get themselves another team fight, and now the Tempered Fate.
Fate going to be missing out yet again. They're looking for the engage onto Azudo here. He does not have spray and pray available, but can they 2v2 this? Vangito going to get snared up onto, but going to be able to dash away. Now it's going to be the Pop Blossom onto Azudo. Can they melt him down before he gets out? No, he takes them down, but he's going to get picked up by Best Turtle on the other side. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but meanwhile, his mid lane's getting pushed down to by the rest of Omega Gaming Silence. They're going to have to engage on a Banky King here. Not quite able to get it as he lands the cocoon. He gets the kill taken down. Now there's 2 low health targets here, but they're going to pick up the Bard as well. Can they pick up anybody here as Nutty Bars is trying to turn this fight around? He does. He gets both kills, but now he's stuck on the wrong side of a Scion as Zion is going to move forward and take him down. Now it is just North yet again trying to carry this fight solo, but he can't even kill Koros anymore as he's just grown too tanky, as it's going to be a familiar sight as Zion is chasing down onto this Vladimir. We've seen it so many times this game, but now North has no options left available. His entire team is dead. He's going to get landed on by another decimating smash. He's going to get ultied on. It looks like Koros not going to be able to pick up this kill, but doesn't even matter when your team has the Baron and is knocking on the base doors.
No, they're going to be able to net themselves one inhibitor in the bot lane, an inhibitor turret in the mid lane as well, fighting back and forth in the base here. Soulbound Mirage giving everything they can and doing the best that they can to try and keep themselves alive right here. Nutty Bars picks up 1,000 gold bounty onto Banky Kang. That is something we need to keep track of because the Ezreal is one of the leading sources of damage out of this Soulbound Mirage roster. Opted in for the Trinity Force as well, so going full damage here with this build. And Azuto, he's going fishing.
Gonna be looking to see if he can get an engage here. He gets on the spray and pray onto two targets here and is instantly melting through both of them. Azuto with a 1v2 kill. A little bit of shielding from his teammate Banjito there, but that is all Twitch, baby, as he takes them down and is going to be marching into base in a 5v3 situation. Omega Gaming Silence wants to end this game and move on right here.
Exactly, they have no Baron, but they have 5 members up and alive. Your Nurse is still far down mid lane, so it might just be the inhibitors. But that's a very strong
15
start.
more seconds available on Nutty Bars. North, though, down for 20 as they're going to start going onto these Nexus turrets. They might want to wait for Nutty Bars, but I don't know if they can. Tempered Fate going to be used to keep this turret alive for even longer now. It's a huge Pop Blossom on everybody. The Twitch is down. They've got their opportunity with Azuto taken down as they're going to also take down Koros at the same time. Koros going into zombie mode, but he's only going to be able to wail on the turrets. They're not going to be able to end the game here as Nutty Bars is back up, and they're going to chase Omega Gaming Silence out of their base. And Soulbound Mirage is not quite done yet. They're going to be getting damage onto Banky Kang. They're going to be landing as much damage as they can as Vito now going to be engaging onto the Ezreal. They're looking to melt through him with this quirky damage, and they might be able to do so. He backs away. He goes down to the Ignite from Banjito. Now, they're just going to back away. They're going to take that kill. It is a 2-for-2 in the extended fight, but Soulbound Mirage manages to keep their base alive and keep the game going.
Oh, and it is so close to teetering over the edge for Soulbound Mirage here. They're 9,000 gold down. They're one Drake away from giving up the soul, but they're still giving everything they can. They're still finding the angles, the opportunities, the small avenues of approach to take down this Twitch. A really nice engage from Steel City Warrior. For me, the leading member of Soulbound Mirage this series. He's been finding opportunity after opportunity to take down this Twitch. That being said though, Azuto is doing so much work carrying the team fights for Omega Gaming Silence, and now it is going to be a matter of can they close out this game. They have 2 inhibitors down, a minute on the Baron, a minute and 15 on the Cloud Drake. So now we're just waiting to see them dot their I's, cross their T's, and make everything firm and completed.
And importantly, Azuto has access to the flash for this next fight. He did not use it in that last fight where he got bursted out by Pop Blossom, and that means he's got it available here, but he's just going to be spraying, praying onto 2 targets yet again. They're going to melt right through North, and they're going to melt right through Nutty Bars yet again. They've done it before, and they've done it again, but Banjito actually getting caught out onto here. He's going to get taken down. It's a 1-for-1 in the extended fight. His best turtle has to run away, but here comes a huge package from Your Nurse. He wants to carry this fight. He's going to take down the bar along with the help of Koros. They're going to take down Steel City Warrior. Nutty Bar forced to flash back into his base, and it looks like it's going to be a 3-for-1 in the favor of Omega Gaming Silence, and it's going to be a 2-1 for the series as Omega Gaming Silence likely going to end it out here. But Your Nurse getting engaged on here by Best Turtle. Best Turtle might actually be able to keep this game alive as Banky King is taking a lot of damage from these Ezreal attacks, but Azuto does so much. He melts through the Ezreal. He's trying to take down the Lee Sin. Lee Sin manages to get it, but Koros and Banky Kang are just taking the Nexus. It's over. It's a 2-1 victory for Omega Gaming Silence as they are going to advance to the winner's side finals in the Risen Divine League.
Oh, and what a game, Gordo. We didn't expect that one when we loaded up into the series finale right there. The Twitch hyper carry by Omega Gaming Silence, taking them through to the grand finals, as you mentioned right there. Azuto on the back of a really strong laning phase with Banjito comes up huge in the team fight situations, nearly solo engaging the last 2 team fights, meaning that the rest of Silence are able to follow up with the Scion ulti, with the Elise as well. Banky Kang pretty much throughout trying to dominate across the map where he could, putting on a clinic similar to Turtle's clinic in game number 2 here. You can see it in the KDA right here. 21 out of 29 kill participated in. Such a dominant jungle performance, and pretty much everyone across the Silence roster this time around coming through to make that win happen.
Yeah, certainly a great performance here from the side of Omega Gaming Silence. A well deserved victory in a close 3 game series. Definitely got quite challenged in game 2 and had a hard fought victory in both game 1 and game 3. But able to pull it out at the end of the day, able to have their players show up when it matters, and they're going to be rewarded with at least a top 3 finish in this series, or
Exactly,
this
and
tournament, rather.
exactly. Commiserations to Soulbound Mirage right there. A very valiant effort. Definitely a notable team here. And, their run isn't over yet. I believe it's double elimination. So there's still the opportunity for them to come back and maybe make a showing for themselves as they were still in the winner's side of the semi-finals. So, I mean, hey, we might end up seeing these guys a bit further down the road. Either way, though, I think that, you know, Silence. They've established themselves as a very strong contender for this entire league.
Yeah, a 2-1 series, a close series, could have potentially gone either way, and that's why it's going to be such great consolation to the side of Soulbound Mirage that they have going to have access to this losers bracket run. They are not out of the tournament yet. They are going to be able to play more games for their lives. They are going to be able to try to make that run from the losers side all the way back to the grand finals, maybe even meeting Omega Gaming again on the way.
Exactly, and with that, I think that that is the perfect way to round out today's broadcast, Gordo. I thank you for joining me, and I thank everybody at home for joining us tonight on this journey. And be sure to hopefully tune in next week, where we at least hope to see what Omega Gaming Silence can do in the other end of the bracket. I want to encourage everybody to follow the Omega Gaming Esports channel because we do post a lot of games out here, trying to get a lot of people in and show all of our rosters off to the best of their abilities. Gordo, any final words?
Not in particular. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I think we might have one more best of five streamed sometime later this week. Stay tuned to the Omega Twitter to find out when that's going to be. Otherwise, it's been great casting with you, Rude Dude, and thank you everybody for tuning in. See you next time.